Well, I'm actually going to start with just the last question you had there about what it is that we're concerned about. You know, primarily I'm concerned about misaligned superintelligence and the risk of extinction. I'm also very concerned about misaligned AI causing S risk, so, risks of truly astronomical suffering. I'm
So
concerned.
what does S risk stand for?
So suffering risk.
What is that? How does that compare to X risk?
Well, it's scenarios in which, if you imagine X risk is where we're all dead, and S risk is scenarios in which we wish we were dead.
Okay, so even worse.
Even worse, yes.
Okay.
I'm concerned about AI misuse, especially in aiding the creation of biological weapons, making that easier for people to do. I'm concerned about that in the attempt of one superpower to prevent another superpower from building superintelligence, that a war, including a nuclear war, could break out, between the US and China or Russia. I'm worried about mass unemployment, massive inequality, and the radical politics and political instability that may result from that. I'm also worried about a gradual disempowerment and what's known as the intelligence curse, like the prospect that most humans could become economically useless and lose their leverage, that states would no longer have the same incentives to invest in their citizens. I'm concerned about what Roman Yampolsky calls ikigai risk, where ikigai means the thing that you're good at, the world needs, and you can get paid for, and that you're passionate about. That in a world where we're superfluous, the people, broad swaths of the population, will lose a sense of purpose, of usefulness, of meaning. I'm concerned about the loss of consensus reality through AI-generated video and photos and text. I'm also concerned about the potential for digital sentience and us inadvertently causing a moral atrocity by enslaving huge numbers of AI and inflicting suffering upon them. And I'm concerned about automated warfare and those types of arms races. And I'm concerned about AI-enabled coups and how that could enable a small group of people to take over, say, the US or China, and from there on use that advantage to take over the world. And there was a recent 80,000 Hours podcast detailing this. I'm concerned about AI-enabled totalitarianism, and that's just to mention some of the risks, right? The list goes on. So there's many reasons to be concerned about AI, right?
Yeah, that's I was expecting maybe a shorter list, but that's okay. There's plenty to be worried about. And okay, so given there's this I don't know how long this list was, but at least more than 10. Is there particular ones that you are more concerned about, or what are your top two maybe or something?
Well, I'm most concerned about extinction and S risk, the ones I mentioned at the beginning. Those seem like the ones that could cause the greatest, the worst features, basically.
Yeah, and obviously, yes, they are almost per definition the worst ones, but they are also maybe the less likely ones. For example, the risk you mentioned where humans become economically not productive. I feel that one is almost inevitable, but the X risk one is maybe not inevitable. But yeah, it's hard to balance one where the downside is basically infinite, right, and one where the downside isn't infinite. That calculus is pretty hard to.
I mean, Pause AI is a coalition of actors and interests, right? And people will have different beliefs about what's likely about the future and how bad those are to you. And yeah, I mean, I'm here to represent Pause AI. Not entirely. I will also be talking, from my own perspective and my own opinions. Yeah. I mean, inevitably you do, coalition building. You're not going to get this through with just less wrong rationalists.